Good afternoon. Thank you all for being with us this afternoon. My name is Vicki Birchfield. I'm a professor at Georgia Tech in the Sam Nunn School of International Affairs, but I'm coming to you live from France, where I am teaching at our European campus here in Metz. And so for you guys, it's time for an afternoon tea, and for me, I've just had dinner. And it's really great to connect back to the Atlantic campus and to all of you, wherever you are tuning in. First, let me just congratulate you if you've received your acceptance already to Georgia Tech. Many congratulations. That's phenomenal. I want to talk to you about the opportunities that you have. And some of you have already indicated that you are aware of this new program, our first year fall abroad. So I'm going to spend 15 or 20 minutes telling you about that program. But first, let me just say a couple of words about who all is joining us on the panel this evening. So I'm joined by my colleague and the assistant director of our first year fall abroad program, Dr. Lizzie LaRude, who is currently a postdoctoral fellow in the LMC, the Literature, Media, and Culture School at Georgia Tech. She teaches our English composition classes, joining me as we launch this program this summer and here in Metz this fall. We also have Dr. Stephen Gerardo on the line. He is the Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education. And he, in fact, helped me design this program. So he'll be happy to share his enthusiasm for it and answer your questions. We're also joined by Tyler Davis, who is an International Programs Special Advisor in the Office of International Education at Georgia Tech. And she'll be managing the chat and questions, so it's always really awkward to not get to see your faces. But please know that we're so happy that you're with us, and we want you to ask questions and engage with us at the end of my presentation. We also have Allie Crane with us, who is the outreach coordinator at the Georgia Tech Lorraine office on the campus in Atlanta. And she's been working with Georgia Tech Lorraine for a few years now, and she's very familiar with the campus here in Metz. So we have a lot of people who can answer questions, but again, we're just happy that you're here and have shown an interest, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the program now. So maybe researching where to apply and getting excited, hopefully, about coming to Georgia Tech. You may have learned that Georgia Tech has had a campus in France for 30 years. Part of that, and the reason I'm here, I've spent the first 15 years of my career as a university professor at Georgia Tech. But for the past 4.5 years, I've been here teaching because I'm a professor. I'm not an engineer. I'm a professor of international affairs. So my PhD is in political science, and my specialization is the European Union, French politics, the European Union's relationship with the United States. And so it made a lot of sense to have a professor with the regional knowledge, and I also happen to speak French, so I have the language skills to have me operate from our campus here in Metz. So I've been here for 4.5 years, and I love it here. And we just thought, well, this is a wonderful opportunity. Why don't we allow our first-year students who are really eager to kind of jumpstart the internationalization of their college career, let them start at our campus here. So if we could go on to the second slide, I'll tell you just a little bit more about the thinking that went into the design of this program. Georgia Tech has always been a very global campus, but that has certainly been the case in the last decade or so, where we have really expanded our global footprint. And as I mentioned, we've had a campus here in France for 30 years now, but that didn't always mean that our undergraduate population could take advantage of our campus. It first started as a research portal, and then a graduate program, and then it gradually moved to a full-time campus. So part of this is just really allowing students to take advantage of the fact that we have an international campus here in France, and to really align with the goals of Georgia Tech to be sure that we provide the best education possible to all of our students across all majors, and just recognizing that the world is becoming increasingly globalized and that students really across all majors need to have intercultural competence and ability to perhaps work and live abroad. And so it's a really nice opportunity to, just start that early in the educational process. So we have designed this program so that it's really a very structured program. Students are in their first year, first semester, so we've designed it somewhat like a study abroad. I mean, you would take all of your classes that you would take ordinarily at the Atlanta campus. So the main goal is that students, yes, jumpstart the internationalization of their college career, but don't get behind in their degree progression. And so that's a real important goal of ours, to allow for this opportunity while also being sure that we offer the courses here that students typically take. It's about that. But first, let me just ask you to move to the next slide and introduce you a little bit to the campus here. And next slide, please. The campus here in Metz. But first, let me just show you strategically how well situated Metz is. Some of you may not have heard of Metz. I pronounce that Metz, which is the way the French pronounce it, but the Anglophones and German-speaking people pronounce it Metz. But one of the things that we instill in our students here is that we want to pronounce the town, our local hometown, as Metz. That's the right way to pronounce it. And part of that is because Metz has been, at different periods of its history, a German city and part of the German country. So it's you can see how strategically located it is. You see the small, this is where Metz is, the red mark there. So it's about a 90-minute train ride to Paris on the TGV, the fast train. We're 45 minutes from Luxembourg. We're less than an hour away from the German border, about less than 3 hours to the Swiss border, and you can see that we are also close to Belgium. So it's really, Metz is the crossroads of Europe in many ways. So I think our Georgia Tech colleagues were very wise in choosing this spot to open up a campus here in this part of Europe. And Metz, if you haven't heard of Metz, I just want to show you a few photos. On the right-hand side, you see this gorgeous cathedral. This is the third largest Gothic cathedral in France. It's celebrating, last year, actually, it celebrated its 800th anniversary. And it's really a stunning monument here in Metz. And on the left-hand side, you see that Metz was elected by an online voting contest throughout Europe as Europe's best destination in 2019. And below that, you see the cathedral again and just some images of Metz. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the Georgia Tech campus here, Georgia Tech Lorraine. So this is, as I said, it's a full-service campus now. We offer courses every semester, fall, spring, and summer. So this will be a brand new program that allows our first-year students to, after spending the summer or late session orientation, taking some classes on the Atlanta campus, to spend the fall semester here. So now I want to get into the details of that. So next slide, please. So first of all, to be eligible, obviously you need to be accepted to Georgia Tech, which many of you have. Again, congratulations. Secondly, even though we're here in France, there is no language requirement. We have a kind of an ethos, a culture at Georgia Tech, even though we are a very global institution and we pride ourselves in our global values and our footprint with presence also in China and in various places. But we really have this culture of we're one Georgia Tech. And that is really true here at Georgia Tech Lorraine. Even though it's a wonderful opportunity to be situated in the heart of Europe, the campus is Georgia Tech through and through. So all of our instruction is entirely in English. And most all of the courses we offer are the same courses that would be taught on the Atlanta campus. Now, we do have a very rich program of French language instruction. So, of course, those courses are in French, but your math classes and engineering classes and the classes that I teach in international affairs are, of course, delivered in English. So there's no real language requirement to be eligible for this program. You do need to be 18 years of age because, well, just for legal reasons, you have to have attained the legal age, which is 18 here, before the program begins. And that is roughly mid-August. I'll say more about the cost of the program, but you should know that once you decide if you choose to do this program, your housing here taken care of, really wonderful facilities that are a short walking distance to our campus. So the idea of this program, as I said, is to allow students to really begin the kind of global perspectives and internationalization of your college career from the very beginning. But it may be unsettling to students who are excited about coming to Georgia Tech to not get to know the campus. So we decided that it would be a really wise idea to start with a summer session. So we have we call the summer session Ignite. So you get to ignite your college career a bit early by attending the summer session and enrolling for 6 to 7 credits. Those of you who may not have the AP credits for your English comp, the required English, the 2 course sequence, 1101 and 1102, you would be able to get that one of those out of the way over the summer. And then there will be a required course, GT 1000, which is all Georgia Tech first semester students take this course. It's really to help you make that transition to college life. And in this case, we would have a very special section for the cohort who will be joining the first year fall abroad to introduce you to French and European culture and to help prepare you for the intercultural learning experience. And that would also include some cultural excursions and enrichment opportunities on the campus and throughout the city of Atlanta. As you all know, I'm sure Atlanta is a very international city. We have many European consulates, including a long-standing and a very large French consulate general. And we also have many, the Alliance Française and many French, a large French community and many opportunities to go ahead and start to expose you. For those of you who are not familiar with French culture, we can begin some of that journey together right there in Atlanta. And then you would have an option to take another course, and that would vary depending on your major. So you would get 6 to 7 credits, get to meet me and Dr. LaRue and Dr. Gerardo would also be joining us, and Tyler would be organizing and teaching part of the GT 1000 class. So it's really an opportunity to get to know the group and prepare for the exciting journey to France, which would happen a little bit later in August. So again, that's a required part of the program, that you would do this 5-week orientation and summer session on the campus. And then in the fall, depending on your major, you would take a different, sequence of the math courses that are offered. We actually, that should be 15, not 51, but at any rate, the first year math courses that most engineering majors and other majors take. So we have a menu of the required math courses. We would have kind of a sequence, a sequel to the GT 1000 course, GTL 2000, a 1-hour course that Dr. LaRue and I will organize. And again, that's to continue kind of the intercultural learning concepts, and also to help us organize many of the excursions we'll be doing on the weekends and during the fall break, which I'll come back to in a moment. But you would also have the opportunity to take other social science, liberal arts courses, French classes. If you come in with a really strong French background, for example, you could go ahead and take upper level French classes. You could take a couple of classes that I teach, for example, that would fulfill social science elective credits. If you happen to be a computer science major, I teach a course that has been accepted by the College of Computing as a substitute for their required ethics course. So you can really get a lot of important credit while studying abroad. And again, stay within your kind of diploma or degree progression. So that's really important to us, that this not become in any a normal 4 or 5 year degree progression. So that's kind of for the academic bit for this summer and the fall. I think that actually this slide should probably say a spring. So once you're here in the fall here in MESS, you will have had some advisement during the summer session from your major specific advisor. And then we would also assist you as you register for the spring classes when you return to the Atlanta campus. So next slide, please. Also, when you do, before I discuss this exciting slide, let me just say that when you return to the campus in spring, so again, that summer opportunity gives you 5 weeks to get to know the campus, so it won't be so alien to you coming back in January. And so you will also have the opportunity to live in the same housing, dorms if possible, and if you are so interested, you can stay together as a cohort. But we do take care of those questions about, will I have housing, on-campus housing when I return? You'll be abroad in the fall semester. We will help you with that, and we have made those arrangements so that hopefully those of you who would want to stay together as a group could have communal housing. Now, we may have some questions about that later, but let me just say a few things about what I think is most appealing about this program. I've already said a couple of times you can, stay in your degree progression, take the courses that all Georgia Tech students would have to take in their first semester of their first year. And what we do is integrate cultural experience within your fall slate of courses. That GTL 2000 class that I mentioned is just a 1-hour class, but it helps us build on the concepts that we introduce in the summer of intercultural learning. What does global citizenship mean? What does it mean to have a European or a French perspective on a variety of issues, whether those be political, economic, public health issues, culture, just culture in general. How does it differ? And why does that matter? And why is it important to understand and have the capacity to take the perspectives of other cultures? And so we will be, Dr. LaRue and I will be continuing what we introduce on the summer campus, but then making that come alive as it's really an experiential learning opportunity. So part of that means really getting to know the local culture and exploring this region. So I already showed you the map of how well situated MESS is, so we will certainly go around the region and explore its historical and cultural significance. But there will be also opportunities to go to Germany, to go to Luxembourg on a weekend, a day trip. We will be doing a lot of special trips that help you understand how Europe came to be Europe, why you cannot understand France today or Germany or Spain if you don't understand the European Union. They are part of a larger regional bloc that is really significant in the world economy. Why did they make that decision, especially after the Second World War, to build a common future. And so you'll learn about what European integration is, and you'll see why that matters, especially when you can, leave Metz and be in Luxembourg or in Germany faster than you could if you're in the Atlanta area. You could, not be in a city, Athens, Georgia, for example. So borders matter. Why? How have borders evolved and changed, and what does it mean that the European Union has decided to abolish those borders? And that's one benefit that our Georgia Tech students have when they come to the campus here. They don't have to get a visa to travel every weekend, right? That's the beauty of the Schengen zone, the fact that these European countries have decided they would build a common future and abolish those borders, and also adopt currency, when you go to many of the countries throughout the European Union. So those are the kinds of things that we'll be exploring and building and taking advantage of as we help you on your journey to become a more independent and mindful traveler. And then once we have the first half of the semester doing weekend travels together in a more structured environment, we will also have a fall break opportunity where we divide you into like 3 different groups. Dr. LaRude will take a group to the Côte d'Azur, and she may come back and explain a little bit of what she has in mind for that. I will take students to Brussels, Belgium, which is kind of the official capital of the European Union, and we'll visit the European Union institutions, but also do some fun day trips to beautiful cities like Bruges and Ghent in Belgium. And then another colleague of ours who is an electrical engineering professor who directs a summer program in Berlin will take a 3rd group to Berlin to explore that fascinating city, but also to put a spotlight on how startup culture is a bit different in Germany than in the United States or France, for that matter. So they're thematically organized trips to wonderful destinations. And then once the fall break has taken place, when we return to the campus here in Metz, the second half of the semester, students will be allowed to travel on their own during the weekends, which of course is a big appeal of Georgia Tech students who spend a semester here. They come here and they enjoy working hard during the week and then really taking advantage of the opportunity to travel throughout France and across Europe. And so you will have that opportunity the second half of the semester, once you have enjoyed the more structured travel experiences with your professors. Next slide, please. So I know there's some specific questions about cost and other things. So let me just go ahead and say that the price tag of this is $6,750. What does that include? It does not include your tuition, and it does not include your airfare, but it does include all of these travel expenses. I've just told you about, every single weekend we have at least one excursion. The fall break, going to amazing destinations, all expenses included. So you already have that included in this program fee. You also have your housing here. So it's really quite affordable when you just kind of consider all of the benefits and opportunities you're going to have. Also, I will just share with you, I'm a study abroad director. For my entire career at Georgia Tech, I've been leading a 10-week study abroad program. And so it's 10 weeks, 12 academic credits, and the price tag of that is $5,500. So I think that gives you a sense of what a bargain this is, a full semester of living in Europe with all of these travel opportunities and expenses included. So next slide, please. So, why would you want to do this program? I think students who are interested in Europe, who are interested in the French language, French culture, or who are just interested in starting to explore the world and really become a global citizen and learn how to operate in complex cultural environments, complex but enriching and wonderfully challenging environments. I mean, you have to start at some point, right? So this is an increasingly global world, global marketplace. So Georgia Tech really offers this fantastic opportunity of providing the Georgia Tech experience, but here abroad, in France, in Europe. So regardless of your major, regardless of your language aptitude, of course, you can always begin to learn French with the experience here. But those of you who may have had really serious language instruction or French, already have French language skills, it's a fantastic opportunity to really expand and deepen those language skills. I'll just end by saying that this program is obviously not for everyone, but I think increasingly what I've seen as a study abroad director is that younger students are ready to travel and study and live and learn abroad. So as I mentioned, I'm a veteran study abroad director, and when I first started in the early 2000s, it was typically the typical study abroad student I took on my summer program was a junior, a rising junior, or even a second semester junior, so third year. But what I have seen over the past probably 5-7 years is that younger students are going, and the majority of the students who go on my summer program are rising sophomores. So I think that students realize that, it's never too early to really begin to internationalize your career, your college experience, and so forth. And one of the things that we've learned in doing research on international education and study abroad is that students who really have a desire to have a study abroad experience often don't do it because they put it off until too late in their college career. And they're already, interested in doing an internship or a co-op, or they're very engaged in student organizations, and they just can't find the space and time to go abroad. So we think it's really smart to provide opportunities for our first-year students to have this chance from the get-go. So I'll just end right there, and just very happy to be here this afternoon, and would love to have questions and invite my colleagues who are joining me to fill in any gaps that I may have left out and answer your questions. So thank you very much for your attention. And I see we have Dr. Gerardo up already, so he may want to just go ahead and chime in while some of you are thinking of questions you want to pose.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Birchfield, and I want to just echo your welcome to everybody on the call today, and congratulations to those of you that are already accepted, and good luck to those of you that are on your way to finishing your application and getting and applying. I just want to reiterate a key point about our program at Georgia Tech. I was very actively involved in working with our leadership to start this new program at Georgia Tech, and we're so fortunate and thrilled to get somebody with Dr. Birchfield's background to take the lead in directing it. But as somebody, I work broadly with undergraduates across campus, and if you come to Facet this summer, if you're coming to Tech, you'll hear me talking and welcoming you there. Facet is our orientation program for first-year students. This program was designed to give you the best of both worlds, and that the fact that we have you starting in the summer in Atlanta gives you that opportunity to get to know the Georgia Tech campus in Atlanta. You become familiar with all of the resources that we have in Atlanta, all of the things that we do with our summer first year program called Ignite. Those things are going to be there for you, and we are planning right now to have these students on campus in housing in the summer. And then you get to go and experience our campus in France and experience all of the things that Dr. Birchfield went over. We have a new strategic plan at Georgia Tech, which is very global education, is very prominently featured in that. It always has been a top priority at Georgia Tech for many strategic plans and many in our leadership, but our new plan in particular really focuses on that. So this is a really exciting starting point. If international education and study abroad are going to be a part of your time, you get to start right away with this opportunity. And we also, in planning this program, spoke to a lot of students who said, I wish we had had a program like this when I was a first-year student, because I wanted to study abroad very early in my time at Georgia Tech. So I'm really excited about this. It is a limited program, and we were only offering this to 50 students, 50. And I expect that the selection process is going to be pretty significant. So I just encourage, if this is already on your radar and on your mind as you're applying, to please go ahead and, at the risk of sounding like a salesperson here, I do just want to reiterate, because we've had a lot of questions and inquiries about the program. So we have students right now in France, even during this pandemic. Our French campus, we have undergraduates there now. Our demand for our summer program is extremely high for continuing students. And so, we fully expect to have this cohort over there in the summer and in the fall. So happy to answer questions too during the Q&A, and I just want to echo all of the great things. This is just a really unique opportunity, not only just for Georgia Tech, but as you look at other universities and colleges, there are these programs at other places, but I don't think many schools do it or do it as well as we're going to do it this year, in terms of giving you that introduction to the campus and then the global experience. And that's a really key part of the design of this program. So happy to speak to that also, and I'm also happy to talk about what summer might look like and what just the overall introduction to Georgia Tech experience and undergraduate education looks like. So thank you.
While we wait on those questions to roll in, let me just add, I don't think I mentioned this. So once you've been accepted to Georgia Tech and you're interested, you've checked the box that you would be interested in this program, you will receive an opportunity to apply. That application is simply an essay question, a short 300-word maximum essay question that kind of serves as your official application. So I just wanted to mention that. Some of you may have received that prompt already, and if so, we look forward to reading your essay. And also, let me just invite Dr. LaRude, the assistant director of the program. Maybe she would like to add a comment while we wait on your questions. Dr. LaRude?
Hi again. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and I hope that we'll all get to meet in person sometime. It's fun to do these sessions, and we sure do miss seeing your faces. But we really welcome your questions, and if you're anything that you want to ask about, it's always helpful for us to talk through what you're wondering about. So please do feel free to ask us questions. And I was thinking, as Dr. Birchfield was walking through this presentation, when I was an undergraduate student, I really wanted to do a semester abroad, and really quickly found that my schedule was filling up. And what I was able to do was a short summer term, but it really would have been a neat experience to do a full semester. So this is such a great opportunity, and I really do encourage you to apply. What I teach are the English courses. And one of the really neat things about this program is that you get to have the abroad experience, but you're really using your time really wisely, because you're also getting a lot of required courses under your belt and getting that experience. And the course that I teach is an English course that's everybody takes at Georgia Tech, and I can't think of a better way to take this course than to do it in France. And this is a course that everyone gets to the benefit of working on their communication skills. Sometimes you see an English course, and for some people, especially Georgia Tech students, the idea of another English course is a little intimidating. It's maybe not your field. It's maybe not your favorite thing. But what we teach are communication skills that you will use throughout your whole Georgia Tech career, and in your life far beyond that. And the course, the way that we'll get to do it in Lorraine is we'll get to work on those same skills, but do it in a way that will let us connect to the culture and to think about the experience that you're having as you're abroad. We'll be reading other writers and thinkers who have had similar experiences to what you will get at GT Lorraine. People who have chosen to leave the United States for many reasons and come to France and look back on their life in the United States and think about it from a global perspective. So it's really an opportunity for you to work through those experiences you're having while thinking about how other people have dealt with those with that kind of a perspective. The trip that I'll be leading for the fall break is going to be in Nice, in the Côte d'Azur, as Dr. Birchfield said, which has long been a place that has inspired artists, and not only artists but creative thinkers. has inspired people to think big, and to break beyond the confines of what's expected. So even if you don't think of yourself as an arts and culture person, I think this will be a really fabulous way for you to get to know France, and to get to know these thinkers who have come before you, and will get to experience what gave them their inspiration. One of the things about the Côte d'Azur is everyone talks about the light of that region, and there's something about the scenery and the space. And you'll get to think about Picasso and Renoir and Matisse and James Baldwin and F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda Fitzgerald, and see the places where they got the ideas that they gave us. So I think it'll be a really exciting experience. Can't wait to take you.
Picking up on Dr. LaRude's point about the classes, I'll just add that another great feature that I don't want to get lost in the discussion is the courses that you're taking in France are Georgia Tech courses being taught by Georgia Tech faculty in English. So if you have French speaking skills, that's great, but you do not need to have those over in France. But these courses are part of your degree plans. We've chosen carefully courses that for many of the first year students, there is a very common curriculum. And so you'll be taking courses that will count towards your degree, and that will, when you come back in the spring, you'll still be on track for your degree programs. You won't have as much flexibility in terms of course selection in France, but you certainly will be taking courses that will continue along your progression. So you're not going to lose any time or have any setbacks as far as your major for most majors by going over to France. And in fact, this may even accelerate it by the fact that you'll have summer and fall under your belt before you come back in the spring. And we will guarantee, well, we are working on making sure that you will have housing. You will have housing options in the spring on campus in Atlanta too.
You know, I want to add one thing. I showed you an image of the cathedral here in Metz. So my guess is some of you probably haven't heard of Metz, other than maybe learning that Georgia Tech has a campus here. And students, this semester, I'm teaching 2 classes. And because of the pandemic situation, students are not able to travel anywhere else in Europe, only within France. So they are exploring France with great enthusiasm, and that's wonderful. But I think their appreciation of Metz is so, it's just so intense, because, you know, they can really, they can experience the city more thoughtfully, and because they've had an opportunity to really have Metz situated for them. And what I mean by that is, because we started online, we've had a lot of online discussions, cultural discussions, and one of my colleagues who teaches French here did a kind of a self-guided, wrote up commentary. We have professional tour guides who give tours to Georgia Tech students, but she came up with her own commentary, and students were able to go in groups of 6 people, but they've just had such a wonderful time kind of really exploring the city on their own through, some expert commentary and guidance of a local, but on their own time. And I think it's really enhanced their appreciation of how wonderful Metz is. I mean, it's this city that is both architectural history. So you saw some images from those photos, but it's a city that's actually built on Roman ruins. So we have a beautiful museum here that's built on the former Roman baths. This was a Roman city. We have the Roman aqueducts just a few miles on the outskirts of Metz, which is incredible to think in the 2nd century the people here had running water. And to get from an engineering or architectural or planning point of view, it's just incredible to see these kinds of historical monuments. But to connect back to Dr. LaRude's discussion of Nice, she mentioned Chagall. Maybe you've heard of him. He was a Russian Jew who had to leave Russia because of the persecution and the pogroms, and he really became a naturalized French citizen. But during the Second World War, he had to flee Nazism, so he went to New York. So you may have heard about his famous artwork from, he has artwork at the United Nations building in New York City, but also the Art Institute of Chicago. He has beautiful, beautiful stained glass windows right here in our cathedral. So this cathedral goes back to the 12th century, but some of the windows were destroyed during the Second World War. In the 1960s, the French Minister of Culture initiated a call to put some windows designed by a modern artist. So we have right here in Metz these beautiful windows by Chagall. And so when Dr. Leroux, you'll observe and admire and those windows at the beautiful cathedral here. Then you'll get to go to Chagall's museum in Nice. And then when you're in Paris, you might go to the Opéra Garnier, this gorgeous Baroque, beautiful opera house, which is stunning on the outside, but on the inside you have this ceiling that's painted by Marc Chagall. And so if you Google this, Google has done a fascinating thing so you can see his artwork. I think it's just extraordinary to make all of these connections. There's another artist too, Jean Cocteau, who has an entire little chapel here in Metz of his stained glass windows. And Dr. Leroux then will show you Cocteau things along the Côte d'Azur. So it's just, this program really will also be about making connections. And starting to, put pieces together. How do you understand the world? How do you understand these layers of complex history? You can understand them through history and through politics, but also through arts and culture, and kind of making the pieces of the world, the pieces of the puzzle fit together through these various lenses, I think is the real benefit of intercultural learning and learning in a context and taking advantage of the many dimensions of kind of the human experience, and pulling all of those together. So I'm a political scientist, but I love the arts. I love French culture, obviously. And it's just wonderful to me to be able to teach here in France. And so I hope that some of you will apply, and we'll have the opportunity to have you with us in the summer in Atlanta and here in France in the fall. Maybe is there anything else about the Georgia Tech Lorraine experience or process that Allie, maybe you've thought of that I should add, or you could chime in?
Sure, yeah. So just as kind of like a side note, I know that if you're on this info session, you probably are interested in this program, which takes place on the GTL campus. So if you do want to know more about GTL in general, not specifically this program, but a little bit more about the campus and the housing, and kind of just like what the GTL experience means, we do have Georgia Tech Lorraine info sessions every Thursday that I host to kind of do just an overview presentation of the Georgia Tech Lorraine campus that's relevant to students that are both participating in the first year Fall Abroad program or not. So I highly recommend joining one of those sessions if you are interested, and you can find the link for any of the sessions on any Thursday located on the GTL website, which is lorraine.govtech.edu.
Thank you. That's excellent. Yeah, that would be a wonderful follow-up. I didn't pull the last slide up on the PowerPoint, Dr. Leroux, but we do, Tyler, maybe you could add that. We have a website. There's, of course, the Georgia Tech Lorraine website. We have the First Year Fall Abroad website. And then we also have an email address. So if you think of questions later, please don't hesitate to send them our way. But again, it's just a real pleasure to speak to you about this program. We think it will be a huge success and very popular. There is a lot of interest, but we are only taking 50 students. So the sooner you make your mind up and get your application in, the better. Also, if you're thinking about this, you must have a passport, and then the Georgia Tech Lorraine office will help you obtain your visa from the French government. So there are some next steps that are important that would make life a lot easier if you decide early and go ahead and get your passport and so forth. But really, that's really it. I think we've covered a lot of the ground that we had hoped to cover this afternoon.
And,
If I said anything, I'm sorry. It's evening for me here in France. Tyler?
and we did have a question come through, and so if you want to take some time to answer that really quick, it says students that attend the program, is it one semester only? And have you had students get there and want to return back home?
Okay, I'm quite sure that students will want to return. And if there were, the right courses fit, I mean, there's no reason. Georgia Tech Lorraine is open to Georgia Tech students and to transient students for that matter all the time. So two things. One, it's probably better for you to return to take the other courses. I'm not sure the second semester Georgia Tech Lorraine course offerings, it could work. It just depends on your major. And there would be no obstacle to that if you were so inclined. But secondly, I want to stress that Georgia Tech Lorraine is an option all the time, right? So if you decide this first year program it's not for you, please, by all means, keep it in mind and know that at any point in your Georgia Tech career, you have the opportunity, fall, spring, and summer, to spend a semester here. So I hope that answers your question, but maybe Dr. Gerardo, did you want to add something?
I mean, I'll just add, I took the question a little bit differently. If you get there and want to then go home, meaning that you are not having a good experience, I guess is the way I might read the question. So if you want to clarify that, but yeah, we do expect that students will return for the spring semester in Atlanta. I think there would be only in exceptional situations where they might spend the spring in France. But we think it's important that you come back to Atlanta and continue to build your experience in Atlanta. And there's likely going to be courses that will not be offered at GTL that you need to take back in Atlanta. But as Dr. Birchfield said, there's lots of other opportunities to do study abroad, both at GT Lorraine and all over the world, basically. So you may want to decide what other study abroad experiences, international experiences you may want to have during your undergraduate time. In terms of if I'm reading the question as I described it, meaning that you decide you want to go home, I can't speak to what I'm guessing that's probably happened to students, and they would likely have to withdraw from classes and go back home, and we would work that out in an individual situation. But in all likelihood, we plan to provide really good support and infrastructure so that when you are over in France, you have a great experience.
Oh, I'm sorry if I misunderstood the question. I thought, the question was about, can you do your second semester at GTL? So
yeah,
thank you for...
If that person wants to clarify, we'd be happy to elaborate. But yeah, the program is one semester in France, although it's technically a 2-semester program, meaning summer, fall is what you're committing to. You're committing to coming in the summer to Atlanta and fall at GTL. So it's a 2-semester, but only one of those semesters in France. And then spring semester, you come back to the Atlanta campus and take courses there.
I will say I've been teaching here for almost 5 years, and I don't think I've ever encountered a situation where a student is unhappy and wants to go home. And I've taken about over 400 students. I've brought 400 students on my summer program, my summer study abroad program. And in my experience, I've never had a student who wanted to go home. Allie may be able to speak to that. I think, again, one of the added values, the benefits of the One Georgia Tech ethos is, we're a small operation here compared to the Georgia Tech campus in Atlanta. So there's a lot more just closer interaction with the faculty and staff, and the services and resources that we provide are just like the ones in Atlanta in terms of the dean of students. We have a full nurse. We have mental health counseling. We have, residence life staff, program assistants, peer student kind of RAs in the dorms. So it really is a Georgia Tech experience with the, the kind of intercultural flair and the fact that you are living abroad. But especially this first year program, the idea, I mean, you can tell Dr. LaRue and I are, we'll spend time in, if you take our classes, and also the GTL, when the 2000 class, we'll see all the students once a week. We have weekend activities. So I think, culture shock and homesickness, I mean, even just the transition to college life and independence from your family, those present a lot of challenges. But as I said, I've been directing study abroad for my entire career at Georgia Tech, and I think that one of the nice things that happens is students bond in a way that I think helps each other grow, and so you get the growth from the intercultural education and certainly the stimulation from the college courses and all of that, but there's also a bonding that takes place amongst the students that I think is really special, and it's something that it does happen on the university campus at home, but it just it enhances the growth, the personal growth experience when you're a little bit outside your comfort zone. And I've found that friendships form, and students really find that the study abroad experience helps them to really become more independent themselves.
I totally agree with that, Dr. Birchfield. I've been working for Georgia Tech Lorraine for a few years now, and I have never encountered a situation where a student wanted to return home during the semester, but I do very frequently encounter situations where a student goes for a semester, comes back after, and wants to return. So I think that's definitely a really good sign. Students are really always eager to return to GTL, but as long as I've been here, I've never known a student to want to leave during their semester.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I think we are out of time. So if there are I'm happy to, but otherwise, let me just close this session and thank you all for joining, and congratulate you if you've already accepted, you've been accepted at Georgia Tech, and best wishes to you in these exciting times ahead as you begin your college experience. So thank you, and best wishes to all. Bye-bye.